I'm going to stop doing this. Let me just clean this mess I made, and I'm going to go sit down.
You making salmon?
And give you my attention.
Okay. All right, Booby Bears. You are now live on Facebook, which is wonderful. I'm going to mute myself. Esther, thank you for doing this and impart me with your wisdom.
Should I go ahead and share my screen?
Yes, if that's what you want to do, yes.
Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rosh Chodesh.
Okay, here we go. So thank you everyone for being here. So excited for another one of our Rosh Chodesh connections. And this is part of our 3-part series of starting in the month of February and now March and then in April. And so I'm so happy to be with you again. It's always, like I mentioned last time, it's always such a blessing to be with my family, my TAO family, when I'm giving these classes. And so very excited to be here with you. So, so tonight we're going to talk about Crazy to Clarity, Rosh Chodesh, navigating through life. And we're talking about how to practice acceptance, letting go without giving up. And as Rebecca would say, chocolate. You can't forget the chocolate. Okay, so we're gonna practice how to practice acceptance, but we're gonna do it without letting go of chocolate. So I think it's gonna be a great class. So here we go. So the first thing we're gonna do though is, as mentioned last time, we're gonna do a little bit of movement, because we know that movement is a beautiful, beautiful expression of our bodies and our physiology and psychology. And when they move together, when they work together, we create a state of joy that is unparalleled. So I would like to share with you a couple of Qigong movements, and then we're going to get into our beautiful conversation for tonight. So if you're in a space where you can do some movement, join me. If not, it's okay. I will do it for you, but let's try. So what we're going to do, I'm going to lower my computer here so you can see. I'm in a different space today. I'm in our office. So as you can see me, here I am. Here's my arms. Okay, so this first step that we're going to do, this first movement, is called rise and fall. So we're going to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, and a breath into our nose, through our nose, and then breath out our mouth, and then breathe in our nose, and then breathe out the mouth, and then one more. And what I'd like for you to do now is to move your arms up in front of you and release down. Again, up, and you can breathe in when you're doing this and breathe out as you're bringing them down. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. And I'm going to do one more. Bring your hands right in front of you, right around the area of your abdomen, here in your solar plexus down here. Sacral chakra, actually, your sacral chakra. And so we're going to now, this is called expanding the chi. So we're going to breathe out. Sorry, breathe in and then breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in the positive energy, expanding the body, the mind, the spirit. And breathe out all the negativity, stress. And then again, breathe in. Light, healing, strength, power, energy. And breathe out. And then just bring the arms down for a minute. And let's just take another breath in. And breathing out. Releasing the energy from the day. And just bringing in the energy of just presence and just being here now together. This sacred time that we have together. Okay. All right. You can shake it out. Okay. Very good. So you can have a seat, relax, make yourself at home. And I'd like to have someone, I was hoping that Fleur would come on tonight so she could read us the Hebrew. Fleur, are you up to that, sweetheart? I can't hear her. She's on mute. No, you're on mute. Okay. I can't. Okay, so she might be unavailable. All right. How about you, Rebecca? Are you able to
I can muddle through it. Ribbono shel olam.
okay.
Bechesedecha harav ha'ar aleinu or I think it's or chadash bechodesh chazeh. Fleur, please help me. Azor lanu lehashkim et hasa'ara sheb tochenu leharotchiv et hakolim hakelim shel livenu. It's not in times. The font is a little different. I'm so sorry. El hashiv et ha idun bain mahashava regesh uma'aseh Adonai chodesh ze chodesh shel hityashvut hada'at shel shalom pinimi v'shel chibur and then I think it's michudash. And then the last line is la neshama vilaor sheb tochenu.
Awesome. Okay, very good.
Thanks, guys, for that.
Okay, so I wanted to, I don't know why I have an echo going on. What is happening now? Okay, hang on a second here. Is that better? Okay, that was better. So hang on. I think it was the way that it was being shared. Okay, can you see? Hold on, something happened to my screen now. 1 second.
No, you're shared. You're good.
I'm shared, but I don't see it. Okay, so what happened to my screen? 1 second.
It's just hidden.
Okay. All right, here we go. All right, are you guys, you can hear me and you can see me, right? Okay. All right, so thank you everyone for being here so much. And, you know, really setting the intention. I'm going to read the English to set forth the intention for Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh is such an important time, you know, and so we really want to bring in the intention behind what we're doing. So I'll read this out loud and you guys can just feel this with me. So Master of all worlds, in your great compassion, shine new light upon us in this month. Help us quiet the inner storms and expand the vessels of our heart to hold more awareness and peace, restore balance between our thoughts, emotions, and actions. So mind, heart, and deed move as one. May this be a month of settled awareness, inner peace, and renewed connection to the divine light within our soul. Amen. Okay, awesome. So let's keep going here. Okay, so last time we talked about the 4 realms of knowing, and why I want to say this again, because this is such an important concept. Whenever we're really learning something, we really want to come from this space of, I just don't know. I just don't know. And so let's make sure that we're in the same frame where we're just open. So this first section here of, and if somebody wants to read, I would love to have participation. So if you want to read, please unmute yourself. I'll see it. And then I'll be happy to have you share. Hi, Gail. So happy you're with us. Annie, you want to go ahead?
Sure. You want me to just read what's on the page here?
Yeah.
Okay. What we know, that's conscious knowledge. What we know, right? Okay. What we know, we don't know. Like, I don't know how to perform heart surgery. Okay, wait a minute. On what we know, oh, well, Esther, you'll explain the approximate proportions. What we don't know, That's my favorite one. Yeah. My example is I automatically sense someone's mood without thinking about it. What we don't, oh, that's what we don't know, we know. Oh, I read it wrong. I automatically sense someone's mood without thinking about it. Oh, totally. And then what we don't know, that's the one. That's my favorite. Discovering a whole new perspective or paradigm you didn't even know existed. That's like,
And yes, thank you so much. And so that is exactly where we always want to come from, where when we're learning something new, or when we're just, now I think with the world, the way that the world is, I think it's so important that we all continue to work from this area, is that I don't know what I don't know, and being in that curiosity. And so if we can come from that space tonight, that would be my invitation for all of us, and we can have an amazing experience. Okay. All right. So the new moon, just a reminder, the new moon is a time to reset. It's a reset button. It's a time to really restart the month. Maybe last month was crap, and this month we get to start anew. And so let's do that. Okay. Let's set up that this month, if we feel small, we feel unseen, we feel in between renewal, it's like we feel kind of like funky, we feel ornery, we feel all the stuff, right? Just knowing that in this month we can start over, and we can start every second. Actually, I like to input that every second we can start again. But with the fact that this is a new month, we have a whole month to restart all over again. So it's very exciting. Okay. So setting the intention, don't need to feel, and also in this month, it really talks about the seed level. You see, this is a good picture, because even though this already shows you it's a little bit of a sliver of the moon, but we know that in the seed of the month, the new moon is the seed of the month. So it's where we really can input the greatest seeds so that the best possible things can manifest. And so it's so important to really see the new moon as such an important time of our time in the month, I would say. Yeah. So the best time in the month is the new moon. Okay. So the month of Aries, we are in the month of Aries. We are in the month of Nissan. And that picture, I love pictures, and I don't know about you, but visuals are so powerful. And I can tell you that this is a very funny story, but a couple years ago, I was doing my astrology reading with someone. And for the longest time, I thought that I was a Pisces, sun, moon rising, Pisces sun, moon in Virgo and Pisces rising. And this reader says to me, this astrology reader says to me, no, actually, you're an Aries rising. And I was like, what? But it made so much sense. Why? Because if you look at this picture, you will see, and Annie understands what I mean, because she's an Aries, right? The Aries is a fiery bull ready to run your ass over if you are in their way. So we don't mean to, but that's just what happens. And it's a beautiful, beautiful sign, because Aries has so much to offer the world. And it's actually the beginning. When you look at astrology, the symbols of the astrology sign, the map, the cosmic picture of the zodiac, the Aries starts off the beginning of the zodiac. So, maybe one day we'll have a class on that as well, Rebecca. I would love to do that. Really talk about the Kabbalistic calendar and how the zodiac and also the Sphirot and all of that, how it all links with EQ. It's very, very powerful stuff. So anyway, so just to say that the beginning of this month is the rebirth. It's a fresh start. In Jewish tradition, it marks the beginning of the spiritual renewal and the season of Passover. And so we know that liberation and freedom is all part of this Pesach, this Passover time. It commemorates the Exodus from Egypt, which symbolizes in Kabbalistic terms, it represents our egos, our ability to move through our challenges in ourselves, in our egos, in our, as I call it in my book, the challenger, these moments of these patterns that we have, this negativity that we have. And it's really an opportunity to just push through that stuff, old patterns, old fears, old limitations, and continue to overcome our stuff and become a better, more bright, shining star that we came here to be. And then you have to talk about the Aries energies. As I mentioned, Aries represents courage, initiative, forward movement. It encourages to take action after releasing what no longer serves you. And so, when you look at Aries people, like, I don't know who else, is there any other Aries on this call? Do we have any other Aries besides Annie? No, right? Gail's laughing. Okay.
What
more do you need?
Okay, because I know it's true. I can only handle one or two. It's true. So as Annie will tell you, and then my own Aries, as we just talked about, is that ability to just move, is to create that, that new movement, that initiative, starting new stuff, paving the way, like really pushing through. It's a very powerful energy. So it's a very powerful time, guys. And then spiritual theme is moving from restriction to expansion, and then moving from resistance to acceptance. So we are right on point. It's amazing how when we created this idea for this class, Rebecca and I were just talking, and we just started coming up with ideas, and it's just manifested, like boom, boom, boom. We knew exactly what to say at the right month. So it was amazing. We didn't even think about it. Okay. And that's the intuition for you. That's the power of the intuition that we're always talking about, because that's very powerful. That's a very powerful faculty to keep developing as well. It's a big faculty in emotional intelligence. Okay, so let's talk for a second here. Let's go really deep for a second. So have you ever had a time where you had to practice acceptance? And so I really want you to take a minute here and think about your own life. And if you don't mind sharing, give us one area. You don't have to give us the whole story, but just give us one area where you've had to practice acceptance, relationship, loss of job, loss of loved one, loss of a material possession. I have a funny one, so I'm gonna go first, and I'm gonna share mine, and then you guys can actually no, you go first, and then I'll give you mine because mine is a little bit more levity. But does anyone want to share just one area where you've had to really practice acceptance?
I will share a small but significant one, and it had to do with the Today Show, because there was a part of me that said, okay, you're going to lose 10 pounds, so you'll look really slim on camera. I was very,
You need to speak louder or closer to the microphone.
okay, so is this better?
A little bit.
It's about as close as I can go without going like this.
There you go.
Sorry.
Get closer.
So
Jump through.
Sit on the
anyway,
camera.
So when I first heard about the Today Show, I had 2 months to lose 10 pounds. No problem, I tell myself. Then it was a month. No problem, I tell myself. Then it was 2 weeks. And I said, you know, Anne, clearly you're not really interested in doing this. It's not that important to you. So let it go. However you look, you're going to look fine. You're going to be just fine. And it was probably the first time in my life that I really I accepted that I wasn't willing to do what it took for me to lose that weight. I knew I could, I just didn't want to. And so, okay, great. Then I didn't beat myself up. I didn't have a moment of regret. I just said, okay, well then you're just going to be fine the way you are. And that's how it went.
Awesome.
So,
That's great. That's great. You looked great, by the way. I don't even know what you're talking about. Okay, it's amazing how our eyes see what our eyes want to see, you know? All right, who else? Anybody else want to share? Okay. So mine is a pretty funny thing, but I just want to say that, you know, like I've had to let go of you know, of my hair not twisting the way it normally used to. It's a silly comment, but no. In reality, we all have areas of life where we have to practice acceptance. And I've had my share of having to learn how to accept certain situations in relationships. I've had to deal with loss of jobs. I've lost loved ones for sure. And definitely the loss of material possession. And I will tell you another loss that I'm about to experience, which is that I don't know how many of you know, I haven't really posted this, but we sold our clinic. And so we will be transitioning to an online platform. And so it's a little bit of a bittersweet experience of now letting go of this physical space that Tom has been in for 36 years, for more than 36
Wow.
years. And no, I'm lying, about 20, more than 20, because he had another space, but he's been in the work for 36 years. So he's going to have to let go of all of this. And it's been 7 years for me. It's coming on 7 years for me. But, you know, it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet not having this, but also now learning how to accept this next phase of what is to come. Because even though we're going to be online, there's a lot of opportunities, but, you know, one never knows, but we have to practice acceptance. And so that's part of the process of learning to let go and accept. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about what is the difference between acceptance and resignation. Because, you know, we have, and I'll tell you guys some funny stories as we're doing this. We have some funny patients here that we've had for many, many years, and even longer than me. And and some of them look like this guy over here on the left, or on my right, maybe on your left. And this is what he keeps doing to us every time he comes into the clinic. he gives us this face, and you know, and he's like, you know, you guys are you're terrible people. Look at what you're doing to me. And he feels like this, that everything is over. He feels defeated. Nothing matters anymore. We're going to go away and he'll never see us again. And so that is a lighthearted way of seeing this, but in a real serious way, this is a real thing. And I myself have had feelings of this. I myself have had these kinds of experiences. Has anyone felt this way ever in their life? Okay, don't be shy. We're family here. Yes. And so, this is a very, very real feeling. And I think with the way the world is today, it's not far-fetched to feel this way. It's definitely not an easy thing to constantly be on the other side of this page and constantly be saying, okay, let go and let God, let go and let God, right? I don't like that. I don't like that this is happening, but it has happened. And now I get to decide how to move forward. And now I get to decide how I move forward. And so that is the key here. I get to decide how I move from here. And so that is the difference between what he's experiencing and what she's experiencing. And if we could land every time on her side, we would be, till the day we leave this earth, we would be a much happier individual. We would be a much more balanced. We would be much more happier. Our EQ would be sky high. We would be in such a different place. And so let's revisit, for those of us that don't know, does everyone on this call, and I put this in just in case, everyone on this call knows what emotional intelligence is, right? We should by now, but just in case, right? Everybody knows, right? Okay. EQ, EI, EQ. EI is the faculty of being able to understand and recognize our emotions and the impact they have on our behavior and how that behavior affects others. And then EQ, the score of that emotional intelligence faculty, the score, which there are different assessments out there. And I have one on my website actually, and in the book that you can take. It's very fun and easy. And it tells you, I think, just as much as those crazy, long, expensive assessments. You could do it for free. But anyway, but in my terms, the ability to recognize and manage your level of crazy. And so that is what is EQ really all about. And when we learn these muscles, we understand how to grow we have better personal growth and development, optimal health and wellness, fulfilling relationships, purposeful and prosperous career, and spiritual connection to self and others, and our overall balance and peace of mind. And so the part about the acceptance is that, as you can see, when we're smart, when we have a high IQ, we're smart, we're amazing, but it's 25% of our fulfillment. And then if we're high IQ and we implement the study of our EQ muscles, right? We really learn how to manage those emotions, how to, learn how to manage our emotions so that we can be in better communication with others. Then we're creating fulfillment that's higher than 75%. And so the process of acceptance becomes so much more easier and just much more doable. So what is the tool here? How do we do it, Esther? How do we do it? We're talking about it. We were telling us practice acceptance. So how do you do this stuff? Okay. So remember last time we talked about the ass protocol, right? The awareness, strategy, serenity. If you don't want to be an ass, wake your ass up, right? Okay. So this is it right here. So when we talked about the ass protocol, we know that the first step, and there's another tool that I'm going to give you because there's a bilateral process here. So the ask protocol is the process of the awareness, becoming aware something happens. So example, I want you to think out there. I want you to think about it in a situation where you had to practice acceptance. I'm going to give you a minute. Really think about it for a second. We're going to do this together. Okay, so you have something in your mind, right? Okay, no, just think about an example in your mind.
What? An example.
Think about a time where you had to practice acceptance.
Oh, acceptance.
We're going to do a little exercise. I'm like, what is that on your screen? And it's your cat's butt. Thank you very much. Okay. So see, if we weren't on Zoom, guys, we wouldn't experience cat butts. I mean, these are the kind of things that I really am grateful for on these Zoom calls.
I want to know, are cat butts part of the ass protocol?
Absolutely. That was perfect timing. Good job, Annie. That was perfect timing on all counts. All right, excellent. Okay, so I want you to think about a time where you needed to practice acceptance. Okay. And so what we're going to do, so the ASK protocol says this. First step is awareness. Okay. I'm going to use an example of my situation, and then you can, as I'm doing it, you can refer back to yours. So the clinic gets sold, and now I have to accept that this is what's happening. Strategy. Okay. I could kill Tom. That probably would work temporarily, but probably not for the long run. So I have to accept the fact that the clinic is sold and we're going to have to move into a different phase of our life now. And so the strategy here is, all right, what are we going to do next? How are we going to move forward? What am I going to do? What am I going to create? What's going to happen? And so I start to move through with different strategies that I come up with. And then me and him as a team also strategize on what we're doing next. You're following me, right? Okay, good. And then serenity, the last step. Blessing this situation as a beautiful life lesson that has now been brought to help me, to help Tom, to help everybody else, you know, in this process of growth and development of our souls. Because again, we are spiritual beings on a human journey. Spiritual beings on a human journey, which are here to grow. And so these life lessons of, okay, my beautiful home of 7 years is now going to be gone in a couple weeks, and I have to move on to the next thing, and my reality will be very different. And so I have to bless this. I have to bless this, and I have to say thank you for the crazy, and I have to just find a way to accept and move on. So did you guys practice on your end? If you guys want to share real quick before we go on to the next tool, or the corresponding tool that goes with this. Anybody want to share?
I will.
And then I will.
Okay, cool. Go
Rebecca
ahead.
first.
Great. So
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Sherry. So in my lifetime, we've had to move a lot, and it
A
was
little louder, Rebecca.
Sure. I'm not in my headphones. I should be wearing my AirPods. In my lifetime with Clay, we've moved a lot, and we've had to move during the rather formative years for my kids. And I really had to embrace the blessings and really focus on the opportunities and be there for them emotionally, spiritually, physically, academically, maintain fun, make it an adventure, and also be there for them or be cognizant of the subtle signs of children being lonely or being the first on the very first day of a new school again. Um, and I think it really teaches, if you do it right, and if you're not, if you resign to reality and life on its own terms, then it builds resilience. It builds resilience in a family. And then you looking back, there was some heartache, but there's also incredible fortitude that was gained from experiences we otherwise wouldn't have had. And to say we lived in Atlanta and we lived in Northern Virginia and we lived in Florida and we've traveled everywhere, that's a huge blessing. And maybe in the moment it's really, really hard, but I think that this is really relevant to so many things. I mean, and that's a big example. Other examples literally could just be the way you manage a relationship with your significant other. To me, acceptance is key. It's the reason I've been married so long. If you don't accept, then you want to control the other person or force them to change into somebody that's in your mind who you want, that it's up to them. And also you have to accept them the way that you hope they accept you. So it it could be that, it could be on the one-on-one scale, or it could be on the larger looming scale of moving. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to share that, because it's very applicable, I think.
So before I take the next person, tell me, do you see, because here's a beauty. Everyone is doing EQ all the time. Everybody is using emotional intelligence all the time. And these tools, the awareness, strategy, serenity, I feel that we're using them all the time. It's just that maybe the language wasn't there, maybe, or maybe it's a way that, you know, because I believe everybody has their own unique way of describing certain things. And this just happened to be my way of describing things. So do you see, Rebecca, how you've actually been doing probably the ask protocol this whole time, right?
You're absolutely right. And what I love about what you're doing is you're reinforcing this natural instinct, and it's quite probably more instinctive among um, the awareness that's natural for women. But I don't want to speak for men, but we might have a natural instinct towards this already. But also, you're layering spirituality to it, which helps strengthen one's resolve, especially if you're going through something where you don't have a choice but to accept it. Because if you don't accept it and you can't change it, then you might go in other more destructive patterns of behavior to numb the difficulty. But if instead you lean into the spirituality that you're weaving into this, then accepting something difficult, it becomes not easier, but more palatable. And I do think we've been doing this all along. I mean, as we get older, I think we do things better and we look back and we're like, why weren't we like this 20 years ago? But but the whole point is that 20 years ago, we might not have taken the risks or done certain things. And then we wouldn't be who we are today anyway. So it's all meant to happen the way it was. But yeah, I think we've been doing this all along. It's just really nice the way you categorize it and then you define it and then you layer in the spirituality, because it does helps. I think it helps. So
Well,
thanks.
I have tried to be an alcoholic, but I'm a lightweight, so it just doesn't work for me. So unfortunately, I have to do EQ. So yes, thank you. So I'm glad that this is what you're doing, and yes, keep it up. You're doing amazing. All right, so Sherry, your turn.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So in my life, I would say a awareness was last probably 15, 20 years of trying to help my mom, who just passed away in January. And she had fallen, broken her arm in 4 places, probably about 15 years ago. And we went to OT several times, who gave her splint and exercises and things like that. And so the awareness was on my side, but on her side was the denial that this professional knew what they were doing. She knew better. So she didn't wear the splint. She hardly did the exercises. I kept strategizing with her how much this is important and necessary. And I finally understood the significance of her not doing it when the OT kind of yelled at me, she's going to lose her capability in her dominant hand. And she was an artist and a fashion designer and used that dominant hand to draw and everything. And so I just had to go into serenity phase and just accept that I was not going to change her mind, which was kind of shocking to me. But anything that I went through of sadness and anger and more confrontation with her got nowhere. And I loved her and she loved me. So I just gave it up. And in the end, she did lose that capability. But till she died, she just still felt like the professionals did not know what they were doing. Put the blame on somebody else instead of accepting that she would have a part in trying to get herself, healed. And so it helped me to go through and take a step back, have a bigger, higher conscious awareness of definitely, I don't want to be that way. I'm seeing it right in front of me. And I hope my lifetime, as I get older, I can accept the expertise of people around me, that it's a blessing that they're offering it, that they have it, and do my best to try and, be part of it. I mean, part of it, I think, is her generation thinks that way. Part of it was she had shingles before there was a vaccine and was not able to, had pain down her right side, and that could not be helped. But there are things in life that can. And so you can't just say, because I can't help this part of my life, that there's other parts also that you're able to. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And one of I think the most bravest thing that I heard you say is that you had to accept, and we have to remember that everybody has their own path. As much as we love our parents, we love our family, but everyone has their own path, and we can't force what we want on them because everyone has their own path. And so it's one of those things. Yeah, I think acceptance when dealing with family is probably the heaviest and hardest acceptance there is. Because I think that if we're dealing with our own self, it's just ourself, then it's like, okay, I either do it or I don't do it. When you're dealing with someone you love and you're watching them go into destruction and you just want to shake them and be like, what's wrong with you? And you can't, because we don't know what they're going through. We don't know what's in their mind. Maybe in their mind, they have come to resignation. And for them, this is what it is. I'm done. Just sit with me. Just love me. Just be here with me. Don't tell me what to do. Don't try to change me. Just be here for me. And if we can do that with love and compassion and just that complete unconditional love, that would be amazing. So I think that is something that I'm going to take away actually from this call, from hearing your example, Sherry, because that is so powerful. That is so powerful if we can do that for our family members and for those people that we truly care about, and we're watching them hurt themselves and we just can't do anything about it. So very powerful. Anybody else want to share before we continue? Okay. So the second part, so the tools work like this. The Ask protocol is your main framework, but in my book, I have broken down 30 different tools. And one of the tools is Life Happens. And for those of you that have the book, who has the book? There's quite a few of you that have the book already. And I think, Sherry, you have the book also, I think, too. And Fleur also got the book recently. There's the brick number 9. It says, Life Happens. And I want to read this to you, and then we're going to talk about this serenity prayer, which is so powerful for acceptance. How many know about the serenity prayer? I'm sure you've heard of this. Okay, yep. Okay, so let's read this together. Many things happen in life that we just can't control. How many of us know the serenity prayer? It looks like this. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And this is written by, he is known for this quote, Reinhold. He's an amazing theologian. He's a professor, and he's an ordained minister, and he's known for this prayer. And so let me continue here. Having faith that everything happens for a reason for you and not to you is the first step to accessing the power of acceptance. Once you can do that, it opens the doors to adaptability, which is how you move forward in creating those desired results in life. When life gives you lemons, make lemonades is an oldie but goodie, right? I'm sure we all remember that one, right? Using creativity to find solutions is a wonderful and an empowering ability. The great news is that when we are adaptive creatures. We just have to learn how to let go, embrace the pain, and move past and beyond the drama faster. Asking, what is the lesson here? Instead of blaming others, being a victim, or participating in selfish agendas, that lead nowhere. When we do this, we free ourselves from the pain and the suffering, and we flow easily with the river of life. We take baby steps, and remember, we learn by doing. Nothing happens overnight. Trust that everything is working in your favor. As long as your intentions are pure and good, apply the rule of POP, P-O-P, patience, optimism, and persistence. And that was a quote that Tom would use here in the clinic with his patients. Here's a quick story. I remember a time when my glasses were stolen from my car, and I was really pissed off. I wanted to stay up all night and catch those dirty thieves. That's my level of crazy. After about 30 minutes and applying some of my EQ tools, I was able to accept and adapt, and I got the lesson from the experience, and I moved forward with my life in a more peaceful and graceful way. It's not always easy, but it helps manage the crazy. So knowing that, there are prayers like this that can help us in those moments where we just want to throw up our hands and we just want to say, I give up, or I can't do this. And actually, this reminds me of the Shema. How many times people use the Shema, and I'm not always big on the prayers, but the Shema is one of those prayers that can definitely work hand in hand with the serenity prayer. So if you want to read this with me, again, the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Right? And if we can really just put that in there and hold that in our heart, that could really help us. So, what can we control? I want you to give me some examples. I wrote down some, and I will pop them up on the screen after you go, but give me some stuff that we can control.
Okay. What we think, what we say, and what we do.
Okay.
we can control how we react and how we respond. We can't control the circumstances, but we definitely can react on. We can actually control how we react and how we respond.
Nice. Thank you, Flurkins. Who else?
We can control our choices, how we spend our time, what we do with it. Our choices of who we interact with, how we interact with them.
Awesome. Anyone else? Okay. We can also control our hair. I have a thing with my hair, guys. So you're going to have to just laugh at those jokes, okay? Because my hair is everything to me. So you can control, I can control my hair sometimes, but I was saying that I can't control the little loopies. They used to be different. That's age for you. Okay. So
I recommend acceptance.
exactly. Is that a hair product? That should be. All right. I think one of us should coin the phrase and make some hair products. All right. Okay. So your thoughts, your actions, your responses, your self-regulation, your perspective, your boundaries, your wisdom, awareness, and knowing the difference in the moment. So these are all the things that we can control. And so basically, again, it all goes back to self. It all goes back to self. And it's an amazing thing because I have an example that happened to me today. You know, as I mentioned, you know, we all have, obviously we have family, we have in-laws, we have blended families, we have all these different dynamics. And so I was experiencing some feelings about some stuff that had happened over the weekend, and I had sent a person a text. And this person didn't reply to me, and I was really hurt because I had done this thing for this person, and I felt like it was so special, this moment we experienced, and here there's no acknowledgement, there's no text, there's no nothing. And then in addition to that, some other family members, some other loved ones were going to go do something, and I didn't feel like I was invited to go do this thing with them. So not only am I dealing with this feeling of this unanswered text, now I'm feeling this feeling of not being included. And so all of this, you know, whirlwind of stuff really riled me up. And so I said, you know what? I'm accepting. I'm not going to make a big deal out of this. I'm going to move on. I'm going to release it and whatever. And I bring this up because we don't always know how the universe works, because what happened was, thankfully, I'm sure we all have someone in our lives that really gets us, right? We have that one person, or maybe a few people, that really gets our energy. And when they see something is not right with our face, they can read our energy, right? And they can know that something's off with us. And so this person says to me, I feel that something's wrong with you. What's the matter? And as much as I try to keep it together, I started to react, not angrily, but from a space of myself. Meaning I said to them, one moment, I need a moment to compose myself so that I don't yell and blame you. And so they were very responsive. They were very like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We didn't realize that this is what happened. Da, 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 da. And all of a sudden, the energy starts to shift and they start to apologize. And guess what happens? I get the text that I've been waiting for 3 days, responding the way that I would have loved to see the response. So I have a feeling that, again, we don't always know how the universe will respond. But I do know that when we come from a space of I and what I can do to control all of these things that we can control, somehow it all just changes. It all just changes, and it works for our betterment. And it just resolves, and the miracles show up. So to recap, if we don't want to be an ass, we wake our ass up. We use the ass protocol, and we use the serenity prayer, the Shema, and we just do what we can to stay within our center. Within our center. We do our best not to blame, not to fall victim, not to have these external fights or conflicts with other energies, because I heard something amazing I think it was maybe last year when I was listening to a Kabbalah class, and he said, imagine this, if there was no one in the universe except yourself, and everyone else is just a reflection of you. There's only a reflection of you. And so when you look at it like that, you realize, whoa, I am the only one in this universe, and everyone's a reflection of me. Now that, I'm sorry, is very scary from my perspective. So I'm sorry, guys. I apologize now ahead of time. But so yeah, that kind of really made me think about that. And so I've been practicing a lot on staying within my center and just focusing on my own energy. And today I went to Publix, and I actually saw a reflection of that. People were saying it was like 7:30 in the morning, like a little, it was like, no, it was like, sorry, like 8. And I love to go shopping early in the morning. And people were so friendly. And I was like, what is going on here? But I could tell that it was my energy shift, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Now, can I do that every day? I don't know. I'm working on it. Okay. So we'll see, but let's keep practicing. So please tell me in 3 words, how are you feeling? I know we're a little bit over time, but I hope you stay with me till the end. We're almost done, and I'm having such a blissful experience. Tell me in 3 words, or maybe 5 words, how do you feel? What EQ tool did you get today? And it doesn't have to be the serenity prayer. It could be maybe just something someone said, or something you got, maybe like a download while we're talking. Share with me.
So before I do that, I do need to share something with you all. Especially you, Esther. I'm a little older than you and more experienced than you, so I need to correct you on the serenity prayer, okay? The real serenity prayer goes as follows. Lord, grant me the serenity to accept stupid people the way they are, courage to maintain self-control, and wisdom to know that if I act on it, I'll go to jail.
Very good.
So
very good.
Be enlightened.
You'll have to send me that version. I think it works perfectly with my formula. Thank you. And I will always give you credit, by the way. Excellent. I'll say Fleur
Yes.
was known for this prayer. Very good.
This is how I'd like to enlighten everybody. This is what it really means.
Got it. Amazing. I love it. And so I'm assuming that is the EQ tool that you got for tonight.
That's my book of EQ.
Okay, good. Excellent. Anybody else want to share how they're feeling?
I think the emphasis on the acceptance, which means we have to accept ourselves first before we can accept others. I
Yes.
think that rang true for me. So thank you.
Yeah, and part of one of the things that I talk about in the book is that actually is when you're able to accept other people's, first of all, accept your own crazy and honoring other people's crazy, then we understand that that is the part that we can bond. Our levels of crazy is how we should be bonding and not hurting one another and not disagreeing with each other. It's actually what should bond us. So yes, exactly. Anybody else want to share? Yes, Buttercup.
I think we should accept people for who they are and where they are at the moment when we're interacting with them. You can't always change people, and actually, it's very hard to change people. So you have to accept them for who they are.
Yes.
I think.
Yes, very good. Gail, you want to share anything?
Am I unmuted? I don't even know. Well, I just woke up from sleeping for an entire day. So my head is foggy.
Well,
Excuse me.
we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Okay. So anyone else want to share before we wrap up? Annie, you have anything to say? No? Okay, cool. All right. What about you, Rebecca?
I don't know. I kind of really resonated with what Sherry said, and the moment where she goes, where you said, and she loves me and I love her. I'm right there, and I thought that was actually one of the more poignant moments of this evening, at least for me. So thank you, Esther, for facilitating this, because I'm right in there with everybody. Just because this is so much more than just a job, and I just feel very connected to all of you. And this was really helpful, and it was fun. And I think your hair looks fabulous.
I think that's something I'm taking away actually myself, is this connection with moms, our moms, I think as women, I don't know about you, but I've always had a very interesting relationship with my mother. It's complex, it's profound, it's hard, it can be, I don't know, it can be lighthearted, but it's usually not. And I think I've only had like a few real small moments with my mom in a lighthearted manner, and I'd love to have more of those moments. But I think for me, that's what I'm going to be taking away from this call also, is that is those connections with moms, And so thank you everyone for facilitating and being here together and sharing this moment. So any comments, any last comments, any questions before we go to the quote and say good night? Okay. So next month, we're going to talk about humor. So we're going to bring your laughs next month, where we're going to talk about laughter and humor and, levity of life, because you know what, that's all we got. Honestly, I feel like levity, laughter, joy, humor is really my most go-to. It is like my how you say, what is that, Xanax or whatever people use nowadays, I don't know, against depression. But for me, it's humor. So I hope you can join me next month. And anyway, I really just want to thank you all for being here. This is always such a treat. And hopefully we can do a couple more really amazing classes in the next couple months, or whenever you're ready, Rebecca. I have some great ideas. And I just really want to thank you. You guys are my kahila, you're my community. And even though I'm not always with you physically, but I'm definitely always with you spiritually. And then when we connect like this, it's just like, I just go, yeah, these are my peeps. So, all right, guys, I'm going to say the quote. I want you to say it with me, and then we'll call it a night, and feel free to text me and say hello. All right, ready? Okay, so when you know and understand yourself,
the world
the world will know
will
and understand
understand
you
you
too.
too.
And what's the
remember.
best that can happen? Now go live your crazy best life. Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Been
See
wonderful.
you
Thanks for sharing your wisdom.
I'm glad I
Excellent.
woke up in time.
soon. Me too.
Good night.
All right. Good night, everybody.